My name is Jordan, and I crave truth. And this is just a little bit about that. Growing up, I always had this kind of desire for truth, and I always wanted to know the truth, and I always wanted to be sure of things. And so I liked reading and stuff. I grew up in a great home. It was an environment where I was taught about Christianity. My parents were Christian, but always encouraged to kind of question it and think for myself and see, like, well, is this true? And find out that. But I was afraid to because I'd been taught this, and if it turned out not to be true, I didn't really have anywhere else to turn. And so I spent all of high school with a lot of confusion and a lot of kind of insecurity and a lot of doubt because I had this need that I was afraid to pursue, and I was afraid to actually meet this need. And so when I graduated, I went to Bible school for a year, which is sort of running away, and it's like the safest place you can run away to. And really, that was because I figured this is going to be great. I'm going to be surrounded by Christians, and there's going to be Christian teaching and stuff all the time, and I'm just gonna my doubts are gonna go away. And I wanted to kind of brainwash myself out of doubting, and that was kind of the plan without admitting it to myself. I never told anyone that. I never really acknowledged it. But when I got there, it was the opposite effect. Like every mention of God or Jesus or anything, which is all the time at Bible school. Who knew? Like any mention of that was just made the problem worse and aggravated it and aggravated it. It's like a pressure cooker of Christianity. And so you can't ignore your doubts in that kind of environment. And so I was there, and I came to a point where I had to confront it, and I had to, I think, stop being afraid of thinking the wrong things. I had to realize, like, atheism intellectually makes sense, and so does Christianity. And that was a point where I found my intellect could really do very little for me. I got, like, both make sense. Where am I going to go? There are a lot of other things that make sense. But what saved my faith, because I almost stopped, atheism is a lot easier. I almost stopped believing. What saved my faith was knowing that I didn't just need things to make sense. I had all these other needs. I needed hope. I needed meaning. I needed purpose. And where did those come from, if not from God? Like, example, like, why did denying purpose and meaning and stuff bring me so little peace and so much conflict? Or why did I need meaning? Because I'm designed by a meaningful being. And that was what explained all my needs and really showed me why. I guess if I accepted Christianity, that made a lot more sense to me. And it didn't just explain, like, that was one half of it, but at the same time it met all of my needs, all of my fears and stuff, knowing that, like, Jesus comes and dies and rises again and is alive and is calling man and humankind to know God is so immensely satisfying. Like, I know I need meaning because I'm designed by a meaningful God, and that's satisfied in a God who wants me to know him. Or even with truth. Like, Jesus talks so much about truth. I know I needed to know the truth. I had to, not just like the facts, but the truth, if that makes any sense. Maybe it's just poetic, but I needed to know the truth because Jesus says he is truth. He says the Spirit of God will guide you into truth. He says you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. And then he makes a way for us to know God, who he says is the truth. And so, like, that was just so freeing for me. And in my own, like, experience, that's been confirmed so much that, like, when I trust in God and when I pray and when I focus on him, then things make sense and things are coherent and I have peace. But when I start to trust my own intellect and I start to kind of try to think it out or reason or whatever it is, then the world makes very little sense to me. And I become very confused and have a lot of conflict. So honestly, yeah, that's just how I connected with God, and that's how Jesus, I guess, saved me for my issues. And that So, my name is Jordan, and I crave truth, and I found it in Jesus.